had killed the market for, of course. Now this had killed the market for, of course.
I was asking myself, like, what are you color? I wanted to draft this the exact thing that is there.
You're welcome on Black Hot Fire Network. Good afternoon from Kampala, Uganda. Today is a Monday, 3rd of June, and today commemorates the Uganda Martyrs Day. People are traveling all over the world to come to Uganda to witness, of course, or to remember the Ugandans who were killed because of religion. And yeah, so the incident that is, of course, happening today in Uganda has, of course, linked us to today's topic. As we shall be, of course, giving you a little bit information about today's commemoration in comparison with the other African countries that have, of course, experienced issues close to what happened down here in Uganda. My name is Africa Maria with my colleague INNOSSETU, and like always, you're broadcasting live from Kampala, Uganda. It's so unfortunate that we are not able to bring you, because as people, by the way, like today we should be bringing exactly what's going on down there, but we don't have the capabilities to allow us to do that. Yeah, so like always, we're always in the studios, and we shall be giving you the oral part of that entire scenario. But yeah, um, throughout history, Uganda is among the countries that, of course, is indicated in the books of a religion, and a lot of Christians still remember that today as a day when they mourn a lot of young Ugandan men who died for the belief of their religion, and that's Christianity, both Catholic and Protestants at the time. So we had one of the kings in Uganda who is known as Kabaka Mwanga. Kabaka is a Luganda word to mean a king. So Kabaka Mwanga was a king in Uganda who was ruling his people. And this is not a mythical story. This is not just a story that people create around. It is a true story because this whole thing, of course, really happened.
I'm talking to my neighbors.
Hang on, sorry. But in about it. So this today was declared as a Uganda Matters Day here, and we are seeing a lot of people having of course, having pilgrimages throughout Africa. That's coming from Congo, Tanzania, Kenya, of course, Malawi, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Nigeria. All the religious people who believe in Christianity today are going to assemble in what we call the Uganda Matters Shrine here in Kampala, Namugongo. Now, we know that a lot of people may be asking, like, why are people moving all over? I'm not we have a lot of people that come, of course, not only Africans but also a lot of other people, like from Rome, Italy, the USA, UK, most especially the religious people who are staunch in in their Christian belief, usually march down here. For those people in Africa, they usually use food. They decided to I think this is a way of believing that strengthening their religion or their belief. And in Uganda, we see people moving from all parts of the country by foot to reach this place that is known, of course, as Martha's Shrine. A lot of people go there to pray, and it is believed that a lot of miracles happen when you reach that place. We always talk about having. I think by the before even I mentioned that these names of these people, I think, who passed away as martyrs. I think this is the only, these names are the only African names that are poured as on the Christian part. Because when you are called, let me say, Kizito, you are called Kizito, and when they are baptizing you, it is allowed for you to be baptized as Kizito, not Charles or John or Peter. So these names are recognized. So that means we can have a Chizito who is an Italian, as long as he's of that religion. I think these are the one among the African names that we see Christians being baptized with, rather than these European names that Christians have been having. Bibumbi, very real. Babikola very real. No, abantu building.
But these people are kneeling down to this.
Naye wakati bamu n'abazungu babisaba, they believe that miracles zibeera zigenda kuhappen balaba. So during that days nsoma story wali eri katono. Uganda Matters Day in Uganda is a significant national public holiday observed on the 3rd June. Today, actually, it's a national holiday in Uganda. People are not going for work, people are not going to school. Apparently, people are home because today is the national public holiday. Now, on this day, Ugandans commemorate the courage and the sacrifice of a group of 22 Catholic and 23 Anglican converts to Christianity in the historical kingdom of Uganda. Now, these converts were executed on the orders of Kabaka Mwanga II between the 31st of January 1885 and the 27th January 1887. Now, their unwaveringly faith and willingly to give up their lives for their beliefs have left a lasting impact on the country's religious history. And that's why we have, as part of the celebrations, pilgrims embark on a journey to the Uganda Martyrs Shrine at Namgongo. For instance, this year we have about 820 pilgrims from one of the places in the northern part of Uganda, and then we have 2024. These people covered apparently like 2024, sorry, 380 kilometers to reach the front. Sorry. So people walk forward from different areas to meet in Kampala in a place known as Namgongo to, of course, to recite the chapels, the chaplets, and also seek God's intervention in their personal lives. Um, but of course, most of these people, we usually see them on the roads reciting rosaries and all that. But usually this journey starts like around the 18th of May. And since they are walking by foot, they make sure by the 3rd of June, which is of course today, they reach in, of course, the respected areas. Now, today there is a lot of crowding all over that place where we see different people. So,
Band.
Khan. Where we see a lot of people now, we are going to see a lot of people there right now. I know the traffic is so huge,
Actually,
the
even
population
closed
is
some of the
very
roads.
big, some of the roads have been closed. We of course, Uganda is going to meet a lot of delegations from different countries, Brazil and elsewhere. They come at this place because this is the exactly area where this is the exactly area where those young Ugandan men were actually murdered or killed. So what are you story? One day, because I've been on the story. Story I'm on, and never matters. So this Kabaka Mwanga, when I say a word Kabaka, I mean king. So yeah, it's in Luganda to mean Kabaka. Now, Kabaka Mwanga II, who was, of course, the king of Uganda, having ruled his kingdom for a particular time, and of course, knowing that his people are his subordinates and they believe in him, um, he was so very scared and very frightened to realize that the people that used to trust him are now trusting or believing in another god, a god that was introduced by a foreigner. Now, the matters of Uganda were a group of 22 Catholics and 23 Anglican converts, like I said, to Christianity in the historical kingdom of Uganda. And we saw that period, during this period, Kabaka Mwanga II launched a campaign against Christianity, which of course was led by Charles Lwanga, a pivotal figure in their formation and resistance. Now, the young men and women displayed remarkable courage and unwavering faith in the face of imminent death. Now we know that on the June 3rd, kitole ne bw'oginoonya tebagireeta.
twakiragirikira nanga bayitamu whatever question now.
So when this king of Uganda realized that most of his followers were converting from the African religion to the European religion, of course that was the Roman Catholic religion, and French. So, and the Anglican religion at that time, he felt threatened, and of course, he decided that everyone who was, of course, everyone who decided to convert to this new religion should be murdered. This very Kabaka Mwanga II succeeded to the throne in 1884. He was concerned at the growing influence of Christianity and the rise of new class of officials. Now, distinct from the traditional territory chiefs who were educated, had a religious orientation, and wished to reform Ganda society. Now, the German annexation of what is now Tanzania sparked further alarm. Now, a year after becoming king, he ordered the execution of Yusuf Rugarama, Marco Kakumba, and Noah, who is apparently like Noah Seranga, who had converted to Christianity, encouraged by his prime minister, of course, at that time. And he had the incoming Anglican bishop, James Hannington, assassinated on the eastern border of his kingdom. James Hannington, the story of James Hannington is a little funny. We saw he was. They killed him. They killed him. They killed him when he was trying to run out of course, Uganda. And then stupidly, he had nowhere to run to because the neighboring kingdom of Uganda at that time was Bunyoro Kitara. And then Bunyoro Kitara had rejected them even before Mwanga did. So him running the other side, it was fire from from fire to the other side, and of course, he was killed.
Hi, Maria and Sid.
Hi, Jaba. Hi, Ken Williams. Thank you for joining our live, guys. So, Hannington, James Hannington was among the people who came to spread. He was an Anglican bishop, and he was among the people who came to spread the religion here in Uganda and in Buganda. So at that time, when they were trying, when people were ready to lose their lives for this religion, James Hannington, who was an Anglican bishop at that time, and the Muzungu, for him, he said that he cannot die. He decided to run. All right, he decided to run, and he decided to run, and he was caught. And he was caught trying to cross to another region, and of course, he was murdered. Robert Williams, thank you for joining our live. It is funny how you, as Africans, are willing to die, yet the person who is introducing this religion to you knows that it is not worth it, his life. But of course, he was assassinated at the eastern border of course, this very kingdom. Now, it is believed that the assassination of James Huntington as an Anglican bishop from, of course, Europe, was a deliberate action intended to send a message to the British that that this particular king did not wish for them to make threats or inroads in Uganda. It is also alleged that the murder of Bishop James Huntington was due, of course, to a myth at the time that enemies that would destroy the kingdom would come from the east. You remember that story. Now, the direction which the bishop was coming from, of course, was the east. Now, the Kabaka had Chief Luba of Busoga, chiefdom in the eastern, execute the bishop. Um, that's the story of that guy is quite a funny one, really. Um, when we were in school, we were told.
Yeah, and religion has been, K. Williams said that religion has been nothing but poison to the black people globally. So I would like to ask K. Williams, is it that even those African people that are outside Africa, the black people, are they so much like are they forced to join certain religions outside wherever they are? Those that have grown up in UK, USA, those are actually the major countries I'm focusing on.
Yeah, I guess that will be a good question to Jibjaba, and we are looking forward to the
K.
answer.
Williams.
You ask K.
Actually,
Williams
all of them.
and Jibjaba and Robert Williams, I guess. Yeah. So
Mm.
you can phrase that question again.
So my question is, um, it's actually a supplement to what K. Williams has been saying here on YouTube. He says that religion has been nothing but poison to the black people globally. So I'm like, is it that even those blacks outside African continent or of course Africa, are they forced or are they divided depending on religion? Wherever they are they divided that they must belong to a certain religion? Yeah, that's what I want to know.
All right. Meanwhile, as we're waiting for the response from Robert Williams, Kel Williams, and Jib Jabba, we shall read Jib Jabba's comment. He said, "Are you talking about the last king of Uganda that did away with the missionaries in the fire pit? I saw a documentary on that." Yes, yes, GB Jabba. Yes, GB Jabba. Exactly. But he's not the last king.
Yeah.
Though now, yeah. He's not the last king, but Chichi okakoze nnyo ng'akabolo. But the story you are talking about is exactly so. Today is the day that these people were killed, and people, of course, are in that very shrine. Believers are praying, others are worshiping. They believe that, of course, once you move to that place, there are a lot of miracles that, of course, happen. Unfortunately, by the way, it's not far from here. That place is just like 20 minutes to Namgongo. It's not far from here, but yeah, maybe next time, if all goes well next year, maybe we shall be showing you around and how people gather there and show you exactly what happens inside there, and also how these people turn it into a shrine, and how people even fetch water there believing that it's miraculous and all that. But unfortunately, we do not have the potential to do that this year, but probably maybe next year if all goes well. Money for what? Jaba responds to your question. It says, no, it's illegal for government to sponsor or push religion in the US. Officially, it's illegal. He also says, yeah, I saw these dummies walking 400 kilometers, some on their knees to pray there. uh, Bakaiso. In my language, they call them Bakaiso. I don't know in yours,
The what?
but matters.
The matter.
Hmm.
What? How do they call them? They're not Abalamas.
Abalanzi.
They're not Abalamas. What name is like the name?
Tell who matters in Uganda. What they call them? I don't know in your language, but in ours, they call them Bakaiso. The matters. I know that because anyway, Jim Jabba says that seen people walking, others with their knees and all that. A lot of people come from deep.
Fact.
No, please don't do that. A lot of people come from different.
Yeah, I won't never say namas.
Uh-huh. Now this is a place where like people fetch the water, and they believe that the blood oozed. Yeah. Some of these people were actually killed.
Mm.
It
Allah.
was on where Ugandan news channel. Let's look at it. What was it? Let me see the eye.
So, this is the small lake you've been talking about where these people go normal and fetch water. But just to look at what that water, how it looks like. But people actually fetch that water and take it for drinking, just like they want to like to heal certain diseases. And by the way, these people, there is a way they created this place. There is a way
Ne waliwo akazi
they are
tebasena
renovating.
kano waliwo kali akazi akayika kali ku kiyinja but I think now that video was just when people are not there. But by the way, during today we are going to see on news a lot of people will pass, a lot of people will die from there, and usually there are even a lot of crimes committed there, death. Some other people suffocate, some other people are stepped on, some other people die, heart attack, high blood pressure, and all that. So the news is gonna be Obabera Sadak, but in the year 2024. Tuli mu 2024.
This is like
Hopefully, I don't know. The police should find out who did it. But just so
it was
if you risk dysentery to cure something else, only in Africa. People actually they are these people were brutality killed, others were burnt alive, others were their heads were cut off, and actually they tied them on ropes and they made them move. And the particular reason why they made these people move all over the different places in the kingdom was this particular king wanted the people to know, all right, wanted the people to know. And it would have been so important if the people had seen him kill this Hannington, because he wanted so much to kill this white man together with these other Ugandan young people. We saw some of them were 18, 19, 20. They were young.
Even Kizito Muto
And
was 15.
Kizito Muto, I think, was the youngest
Among
us all. So you can even go to of course Nigeria, and you'll find someone called Kizito. Kizito is a Ugandan name. You will even move to Brazil and you'll find someone who is called Kizito. Now this name was derived from um this particular guy and this incident of this young matter who was 15-year-old called Kizito, who was also killed brutally. So they refused to, of course, renounce their faith, and then, of course, killed. But we know that they are baddamu biri byennyini gye balina waaka bano. Naawe waliyo kafirimu awo just nga balaga oba tekaliiko copyright. But again, like I was saying, this king wanted to kill Hannington for the people in his kingdom to see Hannington. But Hannington decided to run, and he was entering the eastern part of Uganda, which is, of course, those sides of Busoga. And then he was killed at that time of a chief. At that time, the Busoga had no king. It was a chief who was ruling that area, and of course they ended up killing Kiwanuka
was killed of fire,
17.
hunger, knife, spear.
Ono oli yali journalist Kiwanuka
Amusia Ngondwe 30 years.
bali ku ddembe. Kizito tebamutaddeeko mwaka.
Maybe they were not sure, but young children in particular, those below the age of 15.
So of course tutambuleko tulaba bali mbadde nkyasoma mbaddewo. So I was saying that this we of course Mwanga did of course appoint several Christians to important military position at that time, and of course they were supposed to of course, because they knew that this particular James Hannington would only trust his converted, and of course he had to put different military people to position themselves in order to make it possible for the assassination of James Hannington. And James Hannington, when he was captured by the military at that time, he thought probably since they were converters, they would rescue him. But little did he know that these people were, of course, safeguarding their king or acting under the command of their king at that time. So that is how the Muzungu James Hannington was assassinated in the eastern part of Uganda. Now, in 1886, Mwanga ordered the execution of many members of the royal court for refusing to yield to his religious demands, which he saw as insubordination. Of course, saying that they were both Christian and Muslim converts. Other sources speak only of Anglican and Catholic victims. But still, when you visit this shrine, there is a place where Muslims still come because they believe they also have their Muslim brothers and sisters who were killed during this same day. So on the 3rd of June, actually, I should say it was a religious persecution down here, because it did not matter whether the person was a Muslim, a Catholic, or an Anglican at that time. We saw all religious believers, more especially those who were known, who were prominent. This king made sure that they were assassinated. A lot of people have different mixed feelings, and about this whole thing. Others will say he was a bad king for having murdered people who are following Jesus, people who are following the lie, according to their beliefs. And other people still say it was so great for the fact that Africa religion was losing its meaning. A lot of people even stopped believing in their ancestral ways and adapted all these new cultures that were introduced to Uganda by these very missionaries at that time. Now, the spread of this religion actually was usually a way to, of course, decline the strength of Africa's leadership at that time, more especially the traditional ruling. And you would see that a lot of people went against all the norms and the beliefs of the African, all the areas where they were, because this religion, at that time, we see different kind of preachings now. Like I always say that religious changes is very dynamic. Nowadays, when you go to churches, you'll hear people will preach about apparently four things. All right. Not the major one. We'll be talking about marriage, because they know apparently every woman wants to be married. They talk about money because everyone wants to be rich. They'll talk about passports because people want to travel. They're going to talk about apparently jobs. Those are the four things, because Africa is a place where apparently the big population is hunting for jobs. Now, religion is very dynamic. It changes according to the situation. Now, during those days, the preachings that were there were not these usual preachings you are seeing. The major purpose of this religion was to brainwash the people. The people was to brainwash the mind of the African, to rebel against the command of their leaders, to hate their own selves, to hate their religion, to hate the entire African system and the structure at that time. That a lot of leaders trembled, and they knew Africa is going to fall if Africa continues with this religion. And actually, if you're someone who believes in the strength that Africa held at that time, you would still say kudos to this particular king who did that.
And by the way, talking about those preachings, the preachings, uh, prior or the preachings or the preachings during colonialism, that direct colonialism that we had in Africa, because these were years of 18s.
Mm,
All this happened in the 18s,
mm,
in the 18s years.
mm.
So
In the 1880s.
yeah, in the 1880s,
Mm.
stuff in the 18s. So the preachings are so much different from the preachings that we are having today.
Mhm.
Uh, though it is the same Bible that we
Yeah, crazy.
so depending on the year, the preaching, like the Bible remains.
What is happening at that time is what they talk about. And
Okay,
usually
so
to their
so it is a
benefit.
scripted thing of what is going to happen,
Mm.
because they design the Bible. I by the one, if you follow up the Bible very well, you can determine what's going to happen in the future.
Mm.
Because whatever that happens here, COVID-19 came here. They say that it was written
In
the
the
Bible.
Bible.
COVID was written. When World War, First and Second World War happened, it is there in the Bible. There are preachings that talk about World War. So if you interpret well, so
Slavery is also in the Bible.
homosexuality, LGBTQ,
Homosexuality. And the preachings at that time made the Africans feel so comfortable, because it was written that for the Africans you're supposed to be slaves.
Slaves.
It was written that there is somebody above you who comes from the lineage of Jesus, and they really didn't know who even comes from the lineage of Jesus. But of course, the British at that time said they do. So you will see that a lot of people they humbled themselves because of these false teachings that they had at that time. And actually, this has left a greater impact until to date, really. And which are well, we have seen a lot of kingdoms collapse because if they put you in a position, you see, when slavery was introduced to Africa, it wasn't all about money. You see, they will tell you that slavery, a lot of Africans really wanted to gain money and weapons. Yes, they wanted to gain the weapons and, of course, fight against the others. Hence, they, of course, had to submit to the British rule or the Mzungu control. But there was a lot to do with religion at that time, because it is like what we see the Muslims say jihad. Jihad is known as the holy death, the holy death, simply. So you see, people always ask, why is it so easy for a Muslim to kill others and die in it, and they are so comfortable? Their teachings tell you once you die in jihad or once you die for this religion, of course, it is a straightway road to paradise. All right, like the paradise, they call it Jannah. To Jannah. So Jannah, for you to come and reach a place where Maria talks ill about Islam, or where Maria has a society which is up against Islam, they believe in another religion and all that. For you to come with your bomb and die within this given population of people, it is a straight road to Jannah, right? So that is jihad. I also hear a lot of Muslims saying it's a holy jihad, we're going to follow bullshit stuff like that. And this is why even the word comes jihadist. So with the Christian, it was a different cause. It was okay for you to gather a lot of your fellow black people to sell them to go and work for the children of God, to go and work for the children of Jesus, right? So a lot of people, even other people, came willingly. You know about that the 40, you know about the sheep Jesus, that sheep where a lot of people boarded willingly to go and work as the slaves for Jesus, to go and work for the direct descendants of Jesus, and then they are going to be rewarded in afterlife. And stupidly, a lot of them boarded, and sometimes some people are busy quarreling, hating people back in Africa, but they even don't know probably their forefathers boarded willingly to go and, of course, be slaves to the children of God, to the direct descendants of God, to the direct descendants, so that their children can. And this is why we have still some people calling themselves Hebrews. And Hebrews believe Africans are demons or stuff like that. They're a lot of bullshit. They're a lot of someone says that Africans are demon. Those are demonic angels. For us, we are Hebrews. We have worked to gain all this or whatever it is. You look at a confused race of people.
And there is a way. There is a way.
It is your turn to say ye. I say I put you glasses center.
There is a way. There is a way. Catholic Church structure. There is a Catholic Church structures its leadership. When you look at the Catholic Church, the Pope actually, like Papa assembled to reach Jesus. Pope is the last person. Like after Pope, you go to Jesus. That is the structure of course, the Catholic Church. And leaving alone that, at the beginning of course, this religion of course, in Uganda, let me talk about Uganda. And I know even other parts of Africa. talking about Christianity, looking at these Ugandan martyrs that, of course, were killed or were that were persecuted by King Mwanga of Buganda by then, a kingdom in Uganda. We see that the number of these people is not much, but the thing was just growing. So there is a business I normally see people do here in Uganda. I don't know whether it is even in other parts of Africa, but it's called network marketing. If at all you join that business, you have to bring in somebody for you to get more profits or to get more gains in that business. So this is how religion works. At the beginning, at the beginning of this religion, we see that people were, of course, called upon to join this religion. So if you join and you come to church today, you have to bring a friend, you have to bring a neighbor, you have to come with your parents, you have to come with friends to come. That's why people were, of course, joining religion. But why is it that a lot of people criticize the king of Buganda for, of course, persecuting and killing these so-called Uganda martyrs that we see today? Most of these people were ignorant. I've ever said this, by the way, to someone. Most of these people were ignorant. They knew because the Bible, the preachers of religion by that time were talking about the crucified Jesus, how Jesus was crucified, how Jesus died, and after some days he resurrected. So most of these people, I followed up some older men in Uganda. They told me about this, the history, the real history. Actually, I've ever just with some of some of the brothers and actually not even the brothers, the great children of these matters. I've ever had a story with some of them, and the guy said most of these people were ignorant. They did not know, they didn't knew what's going to happen again after they are killed. They thought they are going to resurrect after some days, just like Jesus did. So a lot of ignorance. African people had a lot of ignorance at the coming of this religion, and the initiators were not telling truth about everything that was happening. That's why we see people today being killed in the name of religion, and they go willingly. We have seen a lot of military groups where we see Muslim military group members doing suicide missions, like carrying bombs to market. They die with people. This is the stupidity religion created. This is the stupidity religion created. A lot of people have. It's not actually. It's not all about belief or faith or confidence in religion, but it's stupidity. How can you be like, for me, I'm going like I'm following up such religion, such a new religion you even don't know about. Someone is just teaching you in summary in groups, because at the beginning of this religion, like, these preachers were hiding out whatever they were teaching people in Africa, because they knew Africa had its religion and the leaders were not interested in this religion. So this became a blocking factor to these people that were, of course, bringing to the missionaries that were, of course, created, bringing religion to African region, and of course, a case in point in Uganda. So Maria was talking about the killing of Bishop Hannington. The area where Bishop Hannington was killed, this was a chiefdom by then. By during those years, it was a chiefdom. So the major kingdom, as Buganda kingdom, it had a fear for these outsiders to come to, of course, to African societies, to come to Uganda to spread such fake religions that, of course, have made a lot of people to suffer in Uganda even up to now. We see a lot of people that have joined in masses services at the place where most of these matters most of these people where they were killed because they are called martyrs in Uganda. And a lot of people someone treks with food from Kenya to Uganda. And these places in Kampala, Uganda, where these people were killed, most of these people were killed. But people trek with their food. So stupidity has not ended. I'm sorry to say this. So if, I know there are a lot of Ugandan people, even some of my friends that I'm watching me on Twitter, but I have to say the truth. Stupidity has not ended. How can someone move with food for over 300 kilometers? You're moving with food for over 400 kilometers, 500 kilometers. You're moving on foot to make a pilgrim to Namugongo where Uganda martyrs were killed. It means we as Africans, you have not learned from the past. It's like we are praising, it's like we are comfortable with what happened with our people because of religion. And there is a way African people get that confidence. So if the Muzungu has said, Papa has said this one is going to be a saint, people starting, I've seen photos about how people are kneeling down on scriptures. I don't know whether I'm using the right word, on models. These models that were molded with clay. They're kneeling down to pray to this kind of models at the shrine in Namugongo where these martyrs were killed. It is something that shows that Africa can never learn. I'm sorry to say this. Because if at all people are killed because of religion, and still up to now we see a lot of people doing the fucking soul pilgrim, people are moving on foot. A lot of people have been, of course, robbed in the way going to Namugongo to do to go and make a pilgrim. And it's not all about the Catholics or the Catholic community making pilgrim. You have seen even Muslim, of course, martyrs that were killed in the name of religion just because they did not want to change. Uh, Actually, they did not want to not to change. They did not want to go to change to another language, but to remain to this new language that these missionaries created. It is so bad. And by the way, it is high time that Africans will learn from the past. Let's learn from history.
Mm.
Let's try to learn from history and our own history rather than praising the Muzungu history. That is not helpful because abantu church batambuze.
So, ebikulu
Hey,
mbukwerumya
eh?
kwebonyabonya.
Why do they, if at all, if okuba kwerumya lwaki tebatambula ennaku enda? Why now?
Bajja mu kubonaabona ne bagenda kubonaabona ne baki ne beesaddaaki.
Terrible.
Agenda gafunyedde gawedde na olwendala muno nga nzija bali abakazi njala kutta baaba. Kama bakuwadde ssente. Mbona ki?
Matters. Uganda matters.
Anyway, there is a lot of critics that go on within the churches, and we are today, of course, for all the services, they're going to be talking all churches will be talking ill about
So come on.
this particular king, but at the end of the day, they'll say, we pray. At the end of the day, they're going to say, we pray that God forgives him.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's how they conclude. But if at all, I feel, I know few people saw the truth that lie behind the missionary, the colonizers, and all that. And like I always tell people, there is no real king at that time who had the powers within his territory or dynasties uh, or kingdoms that, of course, willingly agreed with the terms of this particular people, because everything was up against these kingdoms. And but you will hear stories, people saying, claiming that a lot of people sold their people, they were willing to do this and that. But how this is the typical example, the typical example of this very king who refused all these orders of the missionaries and all that. He knew this was up against, he was losing his powers to these very people. And there is no kingdom that had, stories around that people sold their people willingly into slavery and all that. No, there was a struggle. There was a struggle behind these whole things. For instance, the kingdom, the Bunyoro Kitara dynasty at the time, which was expanding up to Karagwe, which was expanding up to Tanzania, Congo, and even going to some other parts of Zimbabwe and elsewhere, Mozambique, sorry, and Malawi and other places down. At that time, these people, there is no way they would allow this control, the control of these people or the influence of the foreigners. Because through these influences, they were losing. Their population or their people were being divided. Those who believed and those who didn't. And they really don't mention how religion contributed to the disunity and the of African kingdoms and the Africans at large. Actually, it was through religion that people started segregating themselves. Okay, we even people used not to believe in these tribal things and all that. That this is from this and the other one is from the other. Because at the end of the day, when you still follow these true stories, you realize that these very people come from one person. For example, when you look at the story of the Buganda kingdom that people usually talk about, it is even the Baganda people will say we are the grandchildren of the Bunyoro Kitara dynasty. If you still look at the stories of the Basoga, even until now, before Msoga king is crowned, they still have to go and visit. The other dynasty is the one that puts a crown on the king's head, not anybody else. So if you still follow, they will even tell you about the Luos in the other side. So if you still follow that entire thing, you realize that the entire region came from the same. They were brothers who decided to separate, all right? And they were brothers. Now, so this clearly shows that the issue of tribes never existed here. The issue of tribalism, like the way people carry it most, and all that. Recently we were talking with Innocent, and he was trying to say, well, it was narrating to me that when you go to their burial grounds where they bury, because in Africa, like in Uganda, I don't know other places, we have our ancestral burial areas. So when you go where they bury people from my side or from our family, you'll find graves of your great 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 grandfathers, your four grandfathers, and usually it is your four grandfather and your four grandmother, because men are buried with their wives. All right, so was a wife to my great grandfather and the other one. So that's how they are buried. Someone is buried with his entire lineage. All right, so you will know this line comes from this lineage, or the other side those are your cousins, or the other side that those are your uncles or whatever. So Innocent recently was telling me that, yeah, it is very funny. um that when you visit our ancestral burial areas, the names that are there are names that come from your area. So, but I told him, yeah, because actually these people come from the same area. All right, these all new names that they try to bring around, and they're trying to create uh, their own tribe, and you'll find people from different areas speaking differently, but they believe they're the same tribe. Somebody say, I'm speaking Luganda from Masakan. For us, we call it Binyobwa, and which is, of course, typical mother tongue. From ours, we call it same. And somebody say, I'm from the other side, we call it Binyobwa. So you will understand that, but at the end of it all, they will say, we are the same tribe, or we belong to the same tribe. And then when you try to still cross check the totem and all that thing, they also drives you to one some point. So which clearly indicates that we have nothing like tribes, all right? Because these whole things were started to create separatism. Now this is the issue that we have with religion, same thing. Within the kingdoms, of course, before Kabaka Mwanga started murdering or killing these people, within his kingdom, he had already people who had divided themselves actually full time. Those who were Muslims, those who believed in the Anglican religion, and those who believed in the Roman Catholic Church, and those who still believed in of course, the African spirituality. Now you had four sets of people, and they are all influencing each other. Now you can understand how it is hard for you to, of course, lead such kind of an area where people are divided. The next time people are supposed to carry out their rituals, they refuse to carry out the ceremonies because they believe they are evil. So he expected people to do the harvesting ceremony where a lot of people were supposed to meet with their harvest, share, drink, enjoy, and marry at that time. And people are not coming because they believed it was God who gave us this food, not of course, not the powers of course, how do they call that? Mukasa is a god of what? Not the gods of harvest, not the gods of yield, not the gods of Mukasa Wanya, the lakes, yeah. Not so. Huh? Mularu. Zero. So we had those other different gods, right? So when you're going for a hunt in your tribe, they say you pray for Kaizi. Kaizi is the hunter. Kaizi and Dungu. Those were the gods of the hunting. So for those who wanted to hunt, they would pray particularly for to that god. And then we had Musoke. Musoke was for the rain. And then we had I know a little bit about your culture. So according to Innocent's culture, Musoke was the god of the rain, so you had to pray to Musoke. So Musoke had you pray to Musoke, and of course, if you wanted to have, of course, rain, and so each of these people, they were divided. The gods were divided according to their responsibility. And if you still follow the Catholics, they still have these patrons. They'll still say there is a patron for the rain. That's somebody you're gonna pray to if you want to receive rain. Now, and these are the very people who are saying the African tradition is extremely evil. But again, I'm supposed to pray to this Muzungu God that I don't know, the patron of rainfall, the patron of good harvest. They are there. If someone follows the Catholic religion, it is full of rituals, and even itself, it declares the rituals. It even calls them rituals. All right. So before even you plant something, you have to pray to the patron of good harvest, sort of good yields. You have to pray. Now these are Catholics. And this is why a lot of people have been saying Catholics are evil. They do the same rituals that you were doing before these people came in the picture. But now you're praying to their God, even who doesn't know your season. All right. But we had these people before here, and people knew what to do. And if it's going to be fertility, they knew the word to pray for. When someone wants to bear a child, the rituals that were done for childbearing, and the things that you and the gods were supposed to pray to. If you wanted wisdom, the same story. All right, so the story is just the same. And you can realize that all these concepts were adapted from the African tradition spirituality concept. This concept that these people adapted and again turned against us and said, whatever it is that you are believing is wrong, and what they are believing in is just true. And the funniest thing, really, people who get to understand religion to that depth, they end up letting go religion. And these people who don't really know what religion is are the ones who are even dying for religion. These people that you are even going to ask a question about religion, for them, they don't really want to know much because they say when you seek too much knowledge, it is evil. You just have to accept what the religious person is telling you, or you just have to believe the Bible without questioning. But we have a lot of people who have studied the Bible to the maximum. They can challenge you anytime. Now, these are people who got to understand that this entire thing is a scam. Because entire religious stories revolve atano dada ntaddeko mutono mukwano kibino. Yes, they revolve around this whole ritualism and all these other things that we see as evil. So as today people are going to
Even so, President Museveni was heading to that place in his car.
kati kati
Yes,
kati
so um we actually, it's not Buganda Kingdom that of course try to resist religion in in it's not that it's Buganda Kingdom that try to resist religion in of course in Buganda region or in East Africa, but we see that there are even more different societies in Africa did not welcome this kind of religion or colonialism at the first place. But the reason why actually colonialism um, spread in Africa, it was because of the leaders. These people paid up leaders. That's why it became, of course, that's why it intensified in most regions of Africa. The same people that, of course, that were creating that brought this religion, the missionaries, whatever. Because when we look at missionaries, they did not bring religion here. They did a lot of things. Their intention wasn't religion only, because they ended up becoming slave masters and stuff. But how did they come about to introduce religion to make people even believe? The people who knew nothing about the Western religion. At first, these people came to actually they were not even connecting to the leaders. Like they were faking African leaders that they are going to teach people new languages, but this was a way to make people join this new religion that they had brought to Africa by that time. So Africa, even up to now, could have been a place that is free from this Western kind of religion. But what makes matters worse, it's because African leaders at last gave up. African leaders at last gave up to these people, and they ended up dealing with these people, promising them fake things like beads, like mirrors for their people. they were sending out their people, and at last, the same leaders that, of course, that collaborated with these missionaries or um, these Bazungus, they ended up exiling them from Africa. Missionaries, the mission is to find weakness of a population and report back. True, true, true Jibjaba. However, most Africans they are too ignorant to know this. They think that whenever you send missionaries, people think just their minds go direct to those people that brought religion to Africa. But in reality, these were people that, of course, and I normally ask myself, why is it that after seeing explorers in Uganda or even in other parts of Uganda, we saw missionaries, immediately missionaries coming into Africa, and they knew where they were going, they knew the people to deal with, they knew whom to contact by the time they came here, they knew what to do, they knew the people to start with. Chibjaba, this statement is true. Their mission is to find the weakness of the population and report back because they knew African people. They knew African people wanted mirrors. Good afternoon, Setu and Maria. Good afternoon, General Mosquito. Hello, General Mosquito. Let me hope you're doing good wherever you are. So, Jibjaba, these people knew the weakness of Africans. They knew Africans wanted mirrors. They wanted beads because these were the things they were using to exchange for African people. The guns they used to kill people, they were giving so that they can indoctrinate this kind of. General Mosquito says he's in London. How is London, General Mosquito? How is London? For us, we are broadcasting from Uganda. If you're in London, how is London anyway, General Mosquito? Let me hope everything is moving on well. So, so they knew whom to contact if they want to, of course, to change different people to Christianity. They knew whom to deal with. Because when you look at all these people, these were people from the Parasi. Good afternoon. So they knew the people, these people actually that were killed, looking at the Ugandan matters, the people that were killed, these were people that were surrounding, that were living within the Parasi. They were living within the king's Parasi. Some of them, they were working as servants within the Parasi. So, and these people, the missionaries, when they were coming to, of course, Africa, they directly, they came, their mission, they were coming to these, to different palaces across Africa to make deals with African leaders, to make deals with African leaders. That's why they were making some of African leaders to sign treaties. Like we have a king that was actually after Mwanga, who was called King Mutesa the second. That guy made so much deals with these Bazungus, but at the end, but now. So um there is a king I was saying who was Mutesa. He was also king of Buganda. The Bazungus made a lot of deals with this guy, made a lot of treaties with this guy, but they ended up killing this guy. They ended up exiling this guy. They ended up exiling this guy. They ended up, they sold Africa out to the highest bidder, that is from General Mosquito. And by the way, Mutesa was a terrible person. Mutesa was a terrible person. Mutesa was a terrible person. He was a terrible person. Not only in Uganda, even in Africa, this was a guy who was cunning. He could go in every kingdom and empire freely and they allow him. And his intention was to kwonoona, kubba, kuleetera Bazungu. However much very many Bagandans praise that king for what
And his he because of course they praise him because first of all they don't know his history. Secondly, they don't care the harm he caused because for them they are benefiting from that now, which is actually not. I'm quiet.
yogera
Mm.
ayogera naawe
Kandi.
ate nga olira ku kamera ozumiyidde ku kamera singa omanyi ofaanana
Nzoominze.
ate nkuzuumiza nze nzaakutuuzizza
Nze nkola nti ndi ku kisenge.
ege oteekayo ettooke ery'e Masaka get the mosquito stop. He says stop distracting said Maria. He's not distracting me. He was giving some information. He was giving some information here.
I'm
But
quiet.
uh, but uh, to me, apart from my perception for religion is so much different from a lot of people, including my relatives, by the way, because I come from I come from a religious family. It is too religious. It is too. It is extremely. It is strongly, extremely. I don't know which word I can use to express my family, but my perception to religion is so different because I've seen a lot of religious people, a lot of religious leaders that are doing shit in public. They would have done their shit wherever they are. They wouldn't have put rules. And by the way, religion have rules and regulations. Different religions have different practices. Like for me, I grew up having a confusion. For me, I grew up having a confusion in my head. Why is it that these religions say that we believe in one God, yet they are different religions? I grew up having that in my head. Why? Like religions say like we believe in one God, religions believe in one God, but having different parties. They are like football clubs. They are all playing. They are all playing football.
Politics.
Yeah, that is politics. It's like a football club. They are all playing football, but in different parties, in different clubs. So that is religion. For me, I got confused. That's why recently we have been watching a priest. Normally, we know that Catholic priests, Christian, are they called Christians? Catholic priests don't marry. Recently, we have been watching a video has been spreading on Twitter showing a priest from one of the countries in Africa who was having sex with a woman. Something that of course that having sex is not bad. But why do you make people stupid to think like priests don't have sex? Hmm? Why do you make people think like that? Ate nze ndowooza yabadde
Mukazi we balina
nikandooza babigulako olwo ne babyesala. Maybe they bought them at the same day. So so this kills me every day. Like we see a lot of when we look at religion, this is a place for homosexuality. I don't know whether in Africa only. Bagambye yes.
What?
Bagambye baziko nga balimba nabirayo ku Twitter. How can we just say?
That's all I would do.
That's what I saw. But why was he recording that video?
This is
So
the
then there
same
was
but
something
the
behind. Those people are not stupid. There was something behind. That priest was recording that stupid video of him having a sex with a woman.
was the one record, was the one recording you.
He was the one who even changed the camera to best position where he can be seen very well.
Oh, yeah, we get out.
Yabigirawa. Yabigirawa. Yabigirawa.
Ababikirwa mwana muto naawe.
Yabadde mwana muto.
Kati kyengamba ogenda kuyinya mufaada ng'okuze. Yabirabidde wala baponi.
Omanyi amasomero agasinga okubeera ag'obwononefu nga seminaries oba single schools. Eh? Hmm? Do you know that? Eh? And
But would do everything. I didn't know that from my hand. So let me talk about the priest. That priest there. That priest that video, guys, you can go and look that video up on Twitter. Actually, the priest I think was a Ugandan priest. That's what Twitter says. But he's a Ugandan because his name's Twina Matsko and what? Lucian. So this priest, me for all along, I know priests do have sex. I know priests do sleep with the nuns and the other usual people. We have got priests who have children. Yeah, they do the shit, and people know they do. You want to share
share what?
the video? But the funny, okay, the video is not all that.
Sexual.
No, it's not. I don't like watching obscene things. Okay, the only part was when he was doing that. It was when he was trying to do that blow job stuff. It's a, they call it a blow job. It's a job that is blow. You ask Jib Jabba. How do they call it? No, that is the only thing I saw. But the funniest thing was the kind of I don't know whether I should call them underwears or the pants. You say what? You're the kind of underwear he was wearing. I think they I don't know that he was wearing the ladies' knickers or stuff. I don't know, but they look so weird. That I should wash my mouth with soap. Not really. I mean, I'm trying to narrate what I saw. And the Kenyans did not waste time. So very quick, they put this on a porn site. because I was trying to of course follow some leaks, and I saw they had put this on a porn site or something. But what was baffling me is why this priest would be recording himself while having sex with the sheep and all that. And there are also rumors running around that he killed himself. He committed suicide after, because everything was so visible. There is no way he would deny this incident. There is no way he would deny his face, because he was the one on the camera. He even turned the camera and was trying to position the camera in the best position. I don't know that he was trying to send this to Rome. I don't know. Maybe he was representing. I don't know. Whatever. Jojo says no, it was for research. Yeah, yeah, it was. So I'm trying to educate something. So a lot of people criticize. It's a shame, but at times to the Catholic Church, it's a shame. But we all know for sure that these people do have sex always. Yeah, INNOSSETU comes from a staunch Catholic family. So do I. But we know it's a shame, because at one time you get to meet the priest and get close to these people, so we know what happens, and we know, all that. There is a lot of commotion that is actually going on. They do have sex. They do have women. They do have children. Yeah, which of course is this. You are cooking milk. So, like I was saying, I'm still wondering up to now, why was this priest recording this act of his? Hmm?
Or he wanted to expose the church.
Maybe he wanted to send it to Rome. Isn't that their mission? Anyway, a priest in my town had relations with altar boys. The church just removed him somewhere else. Exactly, that's what they do here. They change them to another place. They will tell you a priest is sodomizing children, and later on, baba twala Rome, baba twala bweru, baba twala bweru, Zambia, where they take them. Waliwo father gwe wali olabyeko nga bagobye nti bamukoze ekintu father wuyo bamugobye, tebamugoba ono olwo mu charismatic dati musaala father musaala. He sings. He was an artist nga imanye ebimba bya ddiini. He was called Father Msala. Ng'asala kakati bw'ati. Nga ina amaaso manene muuko. Father Msala. They took him to Italy. Even because the family came up claiming he had kids and all that. But they took him to Italy. Then after some time he was brought back. See, Msala the issue that people should marry. Even started debating about that issue. So what you really happens there happens here. Same with this area. Now the funniest thing about this we have grown up, and yeah, and we have seen what these people back on you made. So could we did don't put too much. Thank you. So yeah, my big what I always what I'm questioning myself is the fact that this priest knew what he was doing was illegal in the eyes of the followers, because we know it is not illegal in the church, because people do this all the time. Priests have children, they have wife. um why was he recording himself? Innocent is telling me that it is said that he committed suicide. I'm yet to know, but I can agree with that, because it was a shame. Why did he even wear that kind of pants? Me, I'm stressed with this kind of. This is what they wear, like the kind of like the ones in the Chinese, with the Chinese going to sauna, and they're going to have a hot bathtub. They're going to sauna. Is it sauna share? Why was he wearing that panty? The panty is so tragic. And I think they had wore the same with this woman, because there is another picture that shows when they were hugging, posing naked with those underwears, or the knickers, or the whatever. I don't know how they call the things men wear. Listen. Boxer. No, not a boxer. Wasn't a boxer. Was it a boxer?
It was a knicker.
It was a knicker for the ladies, because the lady had wore the same. Not Batra. The other one was Mothers Union. That's knickers that unite all mothers in the world. So she had wore, and the priest had wore the same thing. It was white to show how clean they were, I guess, and whatever you are going to do. And this priest.
And the Kenyans, they are so creative. They posted it
so quick. Kenyans are always in the truth still remains the truth. Though a lot of people will not believe this, but we know Kenya and Uganda, they are always here. Everyone is trying to look into someone else's business. You find Ugandans bad talking, bad mouthing the Kenyans bad mouthing the Ugandans, and that's how it goes all the time. So the Kenyans so very quickly, boom, they had to, of course, share this, I think, on a porn site, and the priest is right there. I don't know for how long he has been a priest. I don't know. I'm yet to find out, but it was very upset. So Mako comment here, General Mosquito.
General Mosquito says a lot of sick behavior takes place in those Catholic church. This is true. Jabba, General Mosquito, sorry. This is true, General Mosquito. That's why for me I started weighing out religion after seeing these acts being done by these people. For me, I grew up a religious person. I respected religion. I respected what Catholicism, but seeing what these leaders were doing, and actually talking about Uganda matters. When these people were trekking, were making a pilgrim, when they were trekking to
the shrine,
to the shrine, I was telling you that time I was traveling to the village. Like I was seeing those people on their way traveling on foot, and a certain lady asked. She was like, "I don't see priests in this movement moving. Why is it that we don't see priests?" We were like people were like everyone like has to make a sacrifice for himself. Okitegeera, because biba bibiryo. Then the woman said that at least these priests they can act as of course as leaders, as pioneers of these treks these people are making, but we don't see these people trekking. They have expensive cars. They when you mutambulira for them, they already at namugongo and in VIP, but for you you're moving on foot, you're going. So like growing up in that religious kind of life, I was before I mail you studio equipment.
What you done to me?
Eh, tuzamudda. Sorry, what I was. Sorry, what I was. $20,000 out. So, 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 these people are like growing up in that religious kind of family life background stuff. I thought priests don't do bad. I thought Catholic people, like those people who are too religious, don't do shit. But I've seen these people
We even
doing
call them
shit.
father.
Yeah.
But that about diocese number
Can you
parish.
imagine? And I ask myself, why do they picture that thing in a family structure? Like father, it
I
is only
think
the mothers that we don't have, but you have sisters, you have brothers.
mm,
Why do they picture their kind of
that is
stuff
the
into a
nuns
family
are called
structure?
sisters.
Yeah.
And then we have brothers, and then we have fathers, and the priests are fathers. And I think they did that. They stopped the priests from, or if they refused the priests from having public family, I should say, because behind the curtains they do have families, freedom. Just to, of course, not to say that over there is not to cause segregation. But again, how will you go and tell your family problems to someone who has not had one? And this is where you find issues that a wife each time, because this is a priest who married them in church. You're having problems with your husband. You go to the priest. My husband comes back at
Who is
night.
not married?
Yeah, my husband comes back after a week, and whatever it is, and then the priest is like, "Don't you worry. Whenever he's not around, just come. I'll be around in Jesus' name, and I'll be so."
And by the way, Father Luciana's incident is not the first incident I've seen about priests. There is a certain priest in Iganga who defiled a minor.
That is disgusting.
He was a priest.
Man.
But why is it that why can't you go and buy a prostitute instead of doing that?
No, they even people there. Abantu nga begomba nno bafaaba. Mwagamba teete.
Now, why do they end up doing that? Another topic.
You know, I
Why
think
do
some
they?
people are sexually sick.
Why do they end up doing that?
People are sick in their mind. There is no justification for someone to go and of course rape, defile a child. There is no justification to that, except that there are people who are just mentally sick. They love the weird. I don't know how to tame that kind, that weird fetish kind of thing. You see someone having sex with an animal, and you say, "What do you fancy from a horse? Is it the bat or whatever?"
So, talking about that, you know, there's a certain pastor. He calls himself prophet here in Uganda, of course, um, who has had, who has, like, who was homosexualized, who was sodomized over hundreds of Ugandan boys from his church. That guy has sodomized thousands, because I see, like, every day I see new cases of people trying to, of course, to tell the media how this guy is bad, how this not even bad, because these people go there for money. They even clips, audio clips about this guy, like, ayogera ebyekisiru such stupid things, homosexuality. These are religious people, and the people stupidly. Now we are audio. I heard about that audio. Like so, and stupidly now, people are still going to these churches just because Africans want miracles. If you make a church, if at all you have some. By the way,
we shall make one. After all, it's a business.
It's a business. If at all you know how to convince people,
We make
you
one
can
in
make
Innocent.
simple miracles for some people. Your way to go. And I was like, why is it that still stupid Ugandans, stupid Africans still go to these churches in big numbers? Or do you get a pastor by Tebi Joshua? Omanyi omuntu Tebi Joshua, that Nigerian TB Joshua, TB Joshua. That guy was a rich man. He was very rich, but that guy had a mirror in his church. There is a way those people create those things, like it's like juju, and people want those immediate miracles. That guy prophesied a lot of things in Nigeria. Some of them happened, others didn't happen, because you can't be like saying like when it has started raining and you see that we are going to have a lot of malaria.
It is of course malaria. It's like Jonah.
So that's how these people
and
fall
people
on
say,
people.
yeah. They say they know mosquitoes are going to, of course,
mosquitoes are going to
lay
everywhere.
eggs.
Yeah. So we hope to see a lot of malaria, and after the season has gone somewhere, they start announcing on news that malaria, and most of these people, some of the prophecies they say, they pay media to organize these prophecies. But again, they pay the media, some of the prophecies they make. And these are the same things that are making most of the Africans to still go to these churches, irrespective of what these people are doing.
They are desperate.
Maybe no
Poverty.
Yeah, poverty.
Because they are poor. When you're physically poor, you're mentally.
For me, in my village, when it is towards Christmas, every home, it is a must, has to pay a tribute to the church. Bakusalia said, they bring the envelope.
Yeah.
Raya. So that you organize that, you look for that money, whether you steal, whether you do what. By the way, that time I was watching on TV a certain church where thieves entered that church and stole that huge
The statue.
the statues, those huge statues of Jesus. So people are like, how can these people enter church and steal stuff?
Jesus from there.
Yeah, they even made those clothes where they normally collect money. They left them upside down. No, inside out.
Inside out.
They left them inside out. They were looking. The thieves were looking for money. So after all that, they were not seeing money. They ended up going with those big statues of Jesus Christ.
But they don't give money in sacristy.
Eh?
They don't keep the money there.
It is always there.
It
is already, money is always there, but with a padlock and a big one. Money is always there, but with a padlock. I remember when I was still in high school.
Actually, even those people who count money.
When I was in high school, I remember, by the way, shout out to that guy, Richard. I remember that guy was called Karungi Richard. I started with him primary.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story now.
So that guy was a brown skinned guy. He was like, he lived that priesthood life. He could be humble every time. Reach out. So whenever they could call mass servers, The guy could run, like he used to like to do all the work within the church whenever they could work. Like a lot of priests knew this
Yeah,
guy.
he's so sweet.
Like a lot of this, but it wasn't his first time to do this. What I'm going to talk about. This guy, one time it was a Sunday, why it was a Sunday, whatever Palm Sunday stuff. Then we went to church. For me, I used not to go like to do those things, speech, but this guy used to go. Then this guy, after collecting that money, you know, and I asked myself, why after collecting this money, that money has to be counted. You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to know the exact
Exactly
amount.
amount.
Now, this, when there are big events like Palm Sunday in churches, money is not counted in front of the altar. It is counted in the sacristy. In the sacristy, well, that's how it's called in English. It is collected and counted from there. Then this guy had dressed up like a priest. You know those servers, they normally dress like priests. So what that guy did, yakwata emyanga eya older boy. So that guy yakwata emigga abiri mu etaano bizike n'abipakira in that cloth or that slim, that same thing there is. Then he pressed that money there, 250. He pressed that money. Then after placing that money there, after the mass had ended, so they were moving around. So at the time of undressing, of removing that attire for altar boys, there was a guy, Yalinganga Yimbisa, he was a choir master at our school, Catholic choir master. Then that guy, when this guy was removing, so the guy was there. Said it is tejawunya kalungi tejamunya. They caned the guy seriously and expelled him now and then. Immediately ebifulumizawo nga tuva ku charge. They don't even allow him
And
to go
usually
inside the
most of
school.
these altar boys,
Yasigala ku
bad boys,
gate.
most of the altar boys are thieves. It's not the first case.
Yeah, it wasn't
They
his
were
first time. It
Samantha.
wasn't his
Altar boy
first
were
time.
na
Nange
emo.
nzitwala tonyumiza.
Now, for us, that's not the weird scenario. There are people who always have that familiarity all the time. They are family, yeah, with the sacristy, yeah, with every time they are following the priest. So one day, I think they were struggling with who is going to carry them. Everyone wanted to count. Like at times you count like two. Kumbe busy and grown-ups men with the families. At least this one was a young boy. So the other one all the time is the one who wanted to take the money to the sacristy in a basket. So the fellow also wanted to take the next Sunday, but the guy rejected him. He stopped him and they had issues. So at that time, they came, he waited. When he was angered, and people were having a service, after the money, of course, they're going to go into announcements. When they finish Okusembera, having that, taking the Holy Communion and all that, and then they give the announcements and whatever. So this guy waited for that fellow. As he came back from the sacristy, they started boxing each other. Before the mass ended, they started boxing each other. The other boxed the other, said, "I know you've stolen money." And the other one was like, "How? How can you say I've stolen money?" And he started pulling out his pockets. Money was pouring anyhow. Hey, so this, I think they were friends for some time and they knew they were always stealing. But this one didn't know that the friend had the guts to tell the public. And all the other one felt like he was fed up. They fought during the service. Now you can see. Money.
Money. So the guy, like the thing that like the video I was watching, this guy stole everything in the church, even that statue for Jesus Christ. The guy took it.
Jesus Christ.
The guy took it. So a lot of things, of course, are happening with these, with of course, religious leaders in Africa. I don't know whether even in actually it is Chief Jabba that told us that a priest in my town had relations with altar boys. So the church just moved them somewhere. Yeah, the same things that happen here. But there are people we know here in Uganda that have sodomized a lot of young boys, and they are not taken. They have not they don't transfer them anywhere. A lot of young boys are claiming to have been infected with HIV with the same people, and these people are untouchable. They have connections in the government. They have a lot of money. Which together they are in and outside Africa,
and their wives,
wherever they want. Yeah, their wives,
for them they are after money. Zirastambaza ne bakazi bwe baba balinayo ebisajja
ekitegeera
nga naye abaami bamanyi gwe kati beerawo nga kafaananyi tukole ddi nze zulu biki
ekitegeera which of course which is terrible, so to me there is no way you can convince me or lie me about religion according to the incidents I've seen. Of course, moving on with these people have made a lot of blunders, and I wish we would. So, I'll, so a lot of religious leaders have made a lot of blunders, which of course could have acted as examples to what we go through. So people could pick something from whatever uh, people could pick something from whatever that these people do in the name of religion. Could pick something, but people don't learn. People don't understand. You see people moving, breaking to make this is something that is disgusting. We see that news of Mwanga's actions provoked contradictory reactions in Britain. After Mwanga had, of course, prosecuted, after he had killed these people for for disrespecting him, let me say like that. Britain, just like USA or other countries, what they normally do whenever something happens, they of course they provoked this reaction. If at all Uganda, if at all they had a way of putting sanctions on Uganda, they could have done it. So we see that some saw it as a sign of futility of missionary efforts in Uganda, others as a call to renew the efforts. So we see that the time was of 30th October 1886, quoting the dictum, the blood of course people, the so-called Ugandan matters is the seed of the church stated. So on the success of the Uganda experiment, we see that with the alternation of the favorable and adverse circumstances depending the happiness and interior of the vast continent for generations. This sentiment developed into a campaign for the British intervention in the region in Uganda after this had happened. So we see that in September 1888, we see that Mwanga planned to get rid of the remaining Christian and Muslim leaders by leaving them to starve on his land in crocodile-infested Lake Victoria. However, we see that word of his plan leaked out of the rebellion by Christians and Muslims together brought Mwanga's brother Chiwewa to the throne. So Mwanga was overthrown and Chiwewa came to throne. He was his brother, and we knew that uh, some long time ago, long ago, brothers were not growing together in the same kingdom because it was the thing. But we see, in replacing him with another brother, Kadema, in December, we see that in 1888, Mwanga won support from Christians, and April in 1889, so advancing against the Buganda in October 1889. Yes, Mr. Placket Fire is in the building. Dr. Miki,
What's going on, Seto? I came to check you and Maria's information and make sure it was credible.
Hey, you like violence.
I don't know if Seto never respond. Did you check your phone? You got paid today, right?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, thank you,
All right.
Kid.
All right. So go ahead. What you got talking about kingdoms that were not?
The African kingdoms that resisted religion, some of them that tried to resist.
Yeah, I don't think they were successful.
Because looking at the regime of King Mwanga was a Ugandan was a Buganda king by then, where he come from. This guy slaughtered over 24 Ugandans that of course that had converted to religions.
Mm.
So a lot of people looked, even Britain looked as like a provoking way of resisting missionary work in Uganda. So it's like the king one was not interested in this kind of religion that had been introduced to the region, because as for him, he knew that religion was a problem and it could create a threat to his
That's it.
rule and regime.
Of course, it would undermine it would undermine his authority. Oh, guys got clean. That's got clean drinking water. I thought there was no clean drinking water in Africa. That's what they told me.
Are you sure?
That's what they
You don't
said.
think
That's what they said, Maria.
it's a lie.
Hey.
Hmm. It's a lie. I'll keep a long time.
Yeah, I've been missing you guys' show. Surprised I called today. I gotta leave out. Surprised I called today. I've been missing you guys' show from I think the last week. I think I've been you guys' show for like a whole week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been missing you guys' show. I've been real busy lately, so supposed to be leaving out now, but haven't got no message yet. So
Mm-hmm. Our data is due by the way.
it's due today.
By tomorrow, we may not be able to have it.
I thought it was the tenth of every month.
You changed that date.
Yeah, we probably have.
Yeah, you changed because at times you take like a, you know. And remember, whenever it is INNOSSETU's pay, it is our data. Ha! You should go to that on the first. I thought maybe you had traveled to Antarctica.
When I travel to Antarctica, why the hell would I go there?
But anyway, so Keith, what do you think about the Uganda matters? Have you ever heard about them? Jibitaba has ever heard about them.
The who?
The Uganda matters.
The Ugandan who?
Matters.
Oh, Martha's now. I haven't heard about it.
Oh, sorry. So today is the 3rd of June, and of course, people are celebrating the Uganda Matters. It's a public holiday here. And so people are commemorating that day. when young Ugandans were executed by one of the kings here.
Wow.
He was executing Ugandans who were rebelling against the traditions of his kingdom and embracing religion. So a lot of them were killed. Among them was a European missionary at that time who was also killed here in Uganda. So people come from all over the world to come and commemorate, and some of them think when you reach this place, of course, your whatever prayer you're asking for it has to be fulfilled because of the sacrifices, and that we see a lot of Ugandans walking with the food from all over the country
Hmm.
to reach this particular area. And through this pilgrim, we see a lot of people losing their lives and or so on and so forth, but people still do that. So today it's a little bit chaotic out there. Of course, the place is not very far from where we are right now.
Yeah.
So it's like a 20 minutes drive. So there is too much traffic and all that. And of course, today also Uganda is going to make a lot of money.
Is that a celebration that happened?
It's like it's like a celebration, but it's a commemoration. Like I should say, people are, yeah, of course, they are celebrating these people who, of course, died for their belief
Uh-huh.
and who died for their staunch belief towards their religion.
So those are the ones that those are the ones that refused to take on the Christian religion, right? And so they were murdered.
No, those ones who took the Christian religion
And they
were
got
murdered by the king.
oh, the king murdered their ass for taking on the religion. Wow.
Mm.
Isn't that funny? Shout out to that king because he knew he would undermine his authority. Shout out to him. Get rid of their ass. That's right. Get rid of these goddamn niggas who turn their back on African culture. I sound like a king I can deal with.
We were not getting a story.
Sound like a,
This king actually killed these people because they had, of course, converted to Christianity.
of course.
They had converted to Catholicism, and others had converted to Anglican, and some few had converted to Islam. So whoever converted and became religious, he killed.
That,
And among them, he also killed a missionary, a European missionary at that time,
that's
who was
Oh,
preaching
no,
the gospel.
that's right. Get your ass out my goddamn country. Don't come here trying to destroy my people's minds with your damn bullshit of what's worshiping you. I'm with shout out to that king. What was his name? I need to talk. What was his name? He's a good man.
Was called Mwanga the second.
Manga the second, shout out to you, brother. That's what you're supposed to do. Too bad you didn't win, but that's what you're supposed to do. They come in your kingdom and try to usurp your authority and make all kind of nonsense where you now be worshiping your enemy.
Yeah,
I got,
after the British knew,
I
it
mean, you
was
guys,
after them.
I got to get out of here. My lift is coming. I gotta go.
Oh, okay, please.
I see my lift is coming in what 6 minutes. So I
Oh,
got some white person gonna take me to work.
okay.
I'm about to smack him in the head. What are you doing? Teaching your fake religion to people. You knock
Okay,
it off.
thank
Let's keep talking about that.
thank you for coming.
Shout out to everybody that's starting to come in here from Twitter. We had 0, now it's up to 158. It's all coming in from damn Twitter. Twitter, yeah. Everybody's coming in from Twitter. Shout out to everybody that's showing up on Twitter.
Yeah, we've had the Jig Jabbers here, Jeremy Mosquito, K. Williams, Robert Williams. We've had them all, but I guess they're busy with work. Against
Yeah.
Tracy, okutera munagantu mu baketi.
That was a bit.
Abadde tutegera na bye twogera naawe badde azze kulaga nsujja akuwadde ssente.
Mm, yeah.
Hata nakuseka kama nyambi.
Mm.
Tuchi. Ama sio gati
So, Keith didn't know about that king that, of course, killed people that were changing, were converting
Yeah.
to Muslimity, to Islamic religion,
Whatever.
and Christianity. But um, where is brother Kiss gone?
He gone, I don't know.
So the other time I was chatting, like I was going to the certain shop, and the certain guy said that if at all I get a chance of becoming the president of Uganda. I remember I told him I first the guy said that what he does first after becoming a president is to, of course, to abolish all religions for 2 years.
Mm.
Why did this guy say that? When we were at the shop, a certain woman was calling someone. He was like, you have not bought a phone, and I have to pray for you so that you get money, stuff. There is a way he made stories connecting them to religion and praying. He told her, like, his like the woman's explanation. She was like, uh, she has to, of course, to pray to get what she wanted. Instead of working for it, looking for where to get money, she wanted just pray and get money stuff, which is terrible. So, uh, however, like people, people are not, of course, like a lot of people have done a lot towards Africa. African, like we have a lot of people we know in history that have done a lot towards African being, and of course rejection of colonialism and whatever that it's brought to Africa, but they are not talked about. But there is a way these so-called matters, Ugandan matters, were put on forefront because a lot of people know about these people, and a lot of people think these people. I don't know, but I grew up knowing they do miracles. If you pray hard, okitegeera naye sikirinaako nnyo bukabafu bw'amaanyi, but people pray to them. But these people okimanyi nti no babata because of ignorance. These people were killed because of ignorance. These people knew that they were going to resurrect them like Jesus after some time. Okimanyi kikyo baali
Yeah,
balowooza.
most of them were told they will resurrect. True.
Like Jesus.
Mm-mm.
So we see that in repressing Kabaka Mwanga with Chieya, we see that another brother, which was called Kalema, in December 1888, Mwanga won support from the Christians, and of course, in April 1889, advanced against the Buganda capital. He was defeated by the Christian forces led by the Protestant Apolokagwa, retook the capital, enabling Mwanga to enter in a triumphality on of course October 1889. So the Muslims took refuge in the neighboring kingdoms like Bunyoro, which helped them to return victoriously in November 1889, but they suffered a decisive defeat in February 1980 and withdrew again to Bunyoro. We see that a fighting and division started within the region after Kabaka Mwanga was overthrown by, of course, by these so-called missionaries, because they paid a lot of people within the region, the Christians and the Muslims. Baleetawo ekyo differences zatandikirawo, they started differences immediately and started fighting. So we see that in 1888, Britain authorized the Imperial British East Africa Company to administer the East African territory assigned to Britain in 1886 treaty with the German. So in November 1889, we see that Mwanga asked the company's agent Frederick Jackson for help. So Jackson hesitated to accept the request because he had been given orders not to enter Uganda before. So Carl Peters, an agent of the corresponding German company, learning of Mwanga's appeal, decided to respond to it. So he arrived at Mengo. Mwanga's knew where Mwanga's new capital was. So a fortnight after February 1890, defeat of the Muslims, since these still presented a threat, Mwanga accepted his offer of a treaty. Kitegeera? This is something that I was talking about, that if it wasn't leaders like African leaders gave up, gave up and they ended up signing